Tonight, the Castries South MP and Deputy Leader of the SLP laments what he calls politicizing of the youth and sports sector after the PM pledges support for sprinter Julian Alfred. The theatrics of Tent Pinez are under scrutiny after a guest performer gets riled up and has a heated exchange with the group. And the CEO of the SLHTA cautions against false information regarding the spread of new coronavirus that may hurt the destination. The details of these stories and more are coming up.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News with Lovelace and Amy Joseph.
Good day, it is Monday, the 10th of February 2020. Welcome to the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. We're on Flow, Channel 117. The broadcast is also being simulcast on Kiss FM Radio. You can watch via our website, it's www.caribbeanhottv.com, or on our free Caribbean Hot FM mobile app. I'm lovely Saint Amy Joseph. Thank you for joining us. Castries South MP Dr. Ernest Hilaire says sports and youth development should not be subject to political infiltration. In light of recent developments with national team uniforms being changed, the SLP spokesperson says it is time to draw a line between the political arena and the playing field. Jacques Wooding tells us more.
According to Castries South MP and SLP Deputy Leader Ernest Hilaire, members of the public, specifically the sports fraternity, ought not to be swayed by meet and greets and social media selfies with Prime Minister Alain Chastanet. Dr. Hilaire says the success and celebration of St. Lucian athletes should be kept far away from the political arena. On the heels of a congratulatory message from Prime Minister Alain Chastanet to sprinter Julian Alfred, Dr. Hilaire says she should be recognized for her own success and not seen as a product of any one political party.
Well, I tell you something. Someone like Julian Alfred was excelling before United Workers' Party came into power. I can tell you from my own experience with Sean Edwards, when he was Minister of Youth and Sports, was the one who used the resources of the National Lottery to give her the support to go to Jamaica. He was criticized for it and said he was using minister's account. When the United Workers' Party came to power, they stopped it. And it was only through intense lobbying, including from myself, because her mother lives just up the road there, the ULP government actually came back and tried to put the support back in place for Jamaica.
He laments recent developments which saw the color of official uniforms of national teams change. He believes this decision has everything to do with politics.
I don't even know the government has a serious program for sports development in the country. Yes, you give uniforms, and you notice every national uniform now is yellow. It's not blue anymore. It's yellow, all the national uniforms.
He criticizes the efforts of the current administration to preach synthetic tracks as a necessary measure to develop St. Lucia's sporting facilities. Dr. Hilaire says contrary to popular belief, development of synthetic tracks around the island greatly decreases the compatibility of these facilities to various sporting disciplines.
And I heard last week that all the lights around all the grounds in Sunshine have been cut by Lucilec because the government not paying the bill. Now, seriously? I mean, the government priorities all wrong. And to imagine you have persons like Fortuna Belrose, who is the president of the National Olympic Committee, Honorable Estefan, Honorable Spider Montoon, who are all very sports persons in their own right. And I had to ask them in the House, are you all really believing what you all supporting there? Because you allow the Prime Minister to take $30 million to virtually give Don Lockerbie and his Packer company to just destroy our sporting infrastructure.
Dr. Hilaire has handed the UWP administration a failing grade in their efforts towards youth and developments in sports. For Hot 7 News, I am Jacques Wooding.
Thank you, Jacques. There has been much social media fodder regarding the performance of Calypsonian Explainer at the Legacy Show held over the weekend. An incident during the event marred an otherwise stellar show. Calypsonian Explainer had a heated exchange with a group of patrons, colloquially dubbed the Tent Pinez. Members of the band ended up walking off the stage, and Explainer had his set cut short. Hot 7 TV reached out to the event organizers, who said that a full statement will be issued on the matter on Tuesday, the 11th of February. Some accounts of what transpired blamed the group of patrons for being disruptive and frustrating the performer. Other accounts point to the performer overreacting and getting offensive. Calypso aficionado Karen Tobier was a witness to how it all went down.
In the middle of his performance, he seemed to have just gone somewhere else with the performance. He stopped singing, he started speaking through it, and I think that people at the front were edgy and they wanted the music to continue because that's how the night had been evolving. The Tenpines have a role, and if you do not know how to interact with them, it can be problematic. So I think, yes, that they may have played a little role in what was going on. I think that he may have been a little uncomfortable because when he started off on that track, it looked like the guys at the front were trying to guide him and say, yo, just sing your song and finish with that. You know, you can't be introducing the band and all of that. That's not your place to do. Just sing your song and hurry up, sing your song. And maybe he did not take too kindly to that. I don't know what else was said, and it provoked the language that he used. And even after he used that language, he started singing again. There was gesticulation. And from where I sat, it actually looked like the guys at the front were still going, yo, you know, chill yourself, get back to what you were doing.
From her vantage point, she says the response of the performer in the situation was, quote, not good at all. She says the Tenpines were not the only ones frustrated and offended by the Calypsonian.
I think when he started off with the language that he was using, it was offensive to everybody, including the people on stage. And when I saw Martin put his guitar down and walk out, and I saw, by then he had started asking the band to play, and he would notice that the band was not playing because everybody was really just trying to figure out what was going on at that time. And when he continued with the language and the behavior, and he repeated it again, I think at that point in time it was like, okay, that's it. We're not going to tolerate that. The band left. A lot of the band members left. Martin put down his guitar and walked out. And I think that really signaled the fact that people were displeased with what was going on.
The other performers were well received by the crowd, with Son of the Soil, Alpha, getting a rousing response from the crowd after a hiatus from the local soca stage. Tobier commended the promoters for an otherwise excellent event.
This year, Legacy was no different. It was really good. I thought that the way in which they started it off with the acoustic section with Invader and Ashanti was just the bomb. And so the event itself was really nice. As with everything else, there are times when you really cannot control what happens, and I think that is what happened with the incident with Explainer on stage.
The show did proceed without any other hiccups, and in fact, Ras Isley had the crowd grooving and swaying after. Again, the event organizers have indicated that they will issue a statement on the matter tomorrow, Tuesday. Now, in a previous interview with Hot 7 TV, local Calypsonian Agnes Chester, better known as Black Pearl, said in the music industry, especially the Calypso genre, it is of utmost importance that artists are open to accepting constructive criticism and correction.
She's always telling me what's wrong and what's right. Like if I go on stage before quarterfinals, she said, Black Pearl, do that like that. Change your tone of voice, you too high, you off key and whatever. Anyway, you might not like what she's saying, but if you go home, make the exercise, learn what you from her, then you go back and say, you do better. And I'm happy she was there for me.
Chester says in her own experience, comments may sometimes seem distasteful at first, but when egos are put aside and comments are given proper consideration, she says she has developed greatly as an artiste because of the criticism of others.
She always are backstage. She always say what I do wrong and what I don't do wrong. I remember that year she said, Black Pearl, you see that thing you're touching? I said, touching what? Down there, you know what? And I said, no, I'm not doing that. He said, okay, go on your videos and see what you're doing. Please don't do that. And from the time I stopped, I remember her. Every time I try to do that, I remember her, so I don't do it anymore.
She says she hopes for the continued progress of the Calypso arena and unity amongst the Calypso fraternity. She urges fellow artists to take seemingly critical comments as an avenue for reflection. The number of people infected by the new coronavirus in the UK has doubled to 8 after 4 more patients tested positive for the virus. It comes as the government issued new powers in England to keep people in quarantine to stop the virus spreading. In order to do this, the Department of Health described the coronavirus as a serious and imminent threat to public health. The overall risk level to the UK remains moderate. There have been more than 40,000 cases of the virus globally, mostly in China. The total number of deaths in China is now 908. The new cases are all linked to a British man who caught the virus at a conference in Singapore and traveled to a ski resort in France. He was diagnosed in Britain and is being treated at the St. Thomas Hospital in London. Now, the CEO of the St. Lucia Hospitality and Tourism Association says industry partners are staying abreast with all developments regarding the new coronavirus and efforts to keep it at bay. However, he has expressed concern about false information that could harm the destination and the livelihoods of thousands.
The St. Lucia Hospitality and Tourism Association says it has received full access to information regarding the new coronavirus and the efforts being made by the Ministry of Health to have all protocols in place should the virus be confirmed in our region. Chief Executive Officer of the St. Lucia Hospitality and Tourism Association, Noorani Aziz, says discussions held last week were very informative.
We looked at data provided by COFA, and we got some very good guidance from the Chief Medical Officer and her team on what would ideally be the next ideal steps for wider engagement with hospitality professionals. 2 of the things that we have earmarked as immediate next steps would be major meetings with tourism and hospitality professionals scheduled for this week, Wednesday.
Tourism industry professionals will be equipped with information that it is hoped will filter down throughout the industry. St. Lucia has had no confirmed cases of coronavirus, and Aziz warns against misinformation that may hurt the destination.
We have had very good unrestricted access to the information that is being shared at the highest levels. And, we continue to encourage our members to please pay attention to the legitimate information going forward. We try to encourage our members and as many people as we possibly interface with to stay away from the idle banter and the misinformation or the sensational stuff that is put out there, because at the end of the day, all that misinformation, all that fake news, if you will only serve to harm the destination as a whole, because globally it attracts unnecessary, unwarranted attention.
On the international scene, cruise ships have been quarantined in Hong Kong and the US on suspicion and in one case confirmation of new coronavirus. Aziz says the SLHTA is keeping its eye on all developments relating to the virus.
Health and crime are 2 issues which I have said very often in the past has the potential to cripple us almost instantaneously. And so while we may not have a very strong interface with the cruise industry, we continue to dialogue very closely with policymakers and professionals far and wide to ensure that we have the most accurate information on hand and that we are part and parcel of the decision making and the tough decision making that has to take place.
Moving forward, the SLHTA CEO says the focus is continued discussions on issues like procedures at ports of entry and collaboration with regional and international partners regarding detention and quarantine, among other issues.
This is the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Still to come, the Executive Director of the St. Lucia Employers Federation says poor work ethic and low productivity characterizes young graduates entering the workforce. Women of faith mobilize for World Day of Prayer activities in St. Lucia. And users of telecommunication services are given an opportunity to interact with service providers and consumer rights advocates in a town hall meeting. That and more coming up after the break.